It's the savvy side of 9 to 5. Listen.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Laugh.
We had a little fun, because it's a very long day, you know.
And learn.
Negotiation. This is what you do in business.
This is The Focus Group with Tim Bennett.
All right, let's go already.
And John Nash.
Pucker up, Buttercup.
With a focus on career, the consumer culture, and marketing from an LGBT point of view. We're all business, except when we're not.
I love this. Welcome to The Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host, Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is where you should go to find all about the show. All the platforms are on, audio and, of course, video. If you're tuning in, you might be on Facebook Live and you might be on YouTube, one of the others. But on Facebook today, we have Brian kind of moderating, correct?
Brian's going to moderate for us and hopefully answer some questions. I sent him the show run and all the notes so he knows what's coming up.
Very thorough, very thorough. There's a number here in studio if you want to reach us and join the conversation. It's 877-962-6846. And by all means, call whenever you like during the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you. And before we go too much further, I want to announce that we're launching our, it's semi-annual. Is it semi?
It will be annual because we did one in 2016, earlier in the year, though.
Mm-hmm. All right, so annual listener survey. And since Tim and I are marketing advertising guys, we know that everybody's time is valuable, and I've gotten sucked into surveys where it's like, give us a minute of your time, and you answer 5 questions and there's 50 more pages, and you're like,
just
then you
stop.
hit the eject button and get out of it. But we've made our survey really simple. It takes 4 minutes to take at the most. I think it's 12 questions.
I did it in 90 seconds.
Really?
But I knew what the questions were, but it's click, click, click.
Okay, it's phone or iPad or on the web. You can do it. I think, John, I put in the deck a thing about the survey. So we're going to have it on social media. We're going to have it on Twitter. We'll post it there. But if you're on a mobile device and you happen to be listening to us on a podcast, or if you're just watching us on a mobile device, I set up a system where you can actually send yourself the link by doing the following. You send the letters FG, for focus group, FG, to the number 25827. So you send yourself the letters, or send the letters FG to the number 25827. All the system does is send you back a reply, and it says, thanks for taking the survey, with a link directly to the survey. We used the system before in the past when we were on our old platform, in the old days, in Sirius, a tumbleweed blowing by. And it's really convenient and easy, and we don't use anything with the data. It's just it's a method of getting you the link in a really simple fashion. Now, I prefer taking the survey on the phone, personally. Did you do it on the phone?
No, I did it on the iPad.
It's iPad designed. It's friendly for the iPad. And if you take the survey, so how does this work? You and I figured out that it's the first 24 or 24 hours?
So if you do it within 24 hours of hearing this message, so there will be a chunk from 24 hours from now and a chunk
audio
on Saturday
and
with
the audio drops.
You'll get entered twice to win one of 5 $50 gift cards, probably Visa, and socks. Yes. So there's 5 chances to win, and if you do it in the next 24 hours now or on Saturday,
doubling your chances.
You get 10 chances to win a 50.
So not only do we know how valuable your time is, because we've limited the questions to things that are really simple and easy to answer, we also incentivize you for your time. That's what we do here on the Focus Group, right, Tim? We know how to do this.
I mean, this lesbian denim. I don't know.
By the way, when we came into the studio, Tim said, today I'm doing lesbian denim. I did not know, and I broke my rule. I wore a normal T-shirt.
Well, Steve, your brother-in-law Steve's going to have a fit.
Be happy. I usually wear like a little V-neck.
I saw this hanging in the closet, and I checked it. It's a Banana Republic of all things. 1989, I bought this. It was big then. I guess I was big then too. But it's faded, and I stopped wearing it because people called it my lesbian denim. But I thought, I'm going to take it out for a spin today.
Take it out for a spin today.
I was going to wear some Marietta brand of stuff because I went down to Marietta College.
You had a good weekend, right?
You know, I had a great weekend. The weather was fantastic. It was a fun football game. Saw lots of old fraternity brothers and just lots of friends. And
I saw pictures on Facebook, and it looked like you guys had terrific weather.
Yeah, and somebody you know, I just had to tell you a short story. So our friend Jay, or Susan, from Seattle, and she's originally from New York, but she lives in Seattle. She worked at Apple. She and her husband Jason live out in Seattle part-time, and she, since she moved to Seattle, has become a bit of a coffee snob. So there is a Starbucks on campus, but it wasn't open that early. She and I had to go to this alumni board meeting. And so she says to me, she said, do you mind taking me to get a coffee in the morning?
Oh, God, how far'd you go?
So
I'm almost afraid to ask.
Marietta's like a little Mayberry.
I love Marietta.
It's a little town, so there's coffee shops, but it's coffee. Cream and sugar, coffee. So I said, well, there's a 24-hour Tim Hortons out by the highway. I said, I will take you there. I said, but I don't want any of the nonsense from last year. She's like, what do you mean? I said, you went in there looking for some kind of crazy Starbucks type of drink. I said, it's coffee. I said, so
especially at Tim Hortons.
We don't have a lot of time, but let's go in. So she comes out. She's got a beret on. Yeah, and I see it coming.
Bonjour.
So off we go.
She had a beret on? Okay.
I said, let's just go through the drive-thru. No, I'm going to have to go in. So I can see where this is going. So we get in.
I can see where this is going.
Wait. We finally get in line. The poor woman's behind the counter, and Jay says, "I'd like an Americano, please."
What the hell's an Americano? What is that?
Well, it's shots of espresso with the hot water and the whole deal. So the woman just looks at her, and she says, and Jay goes, "An Americano, please." And the woman says, "Does that take the machine?" You know, the little machine that's there. Jay goes, well, yeah. She goes, we don't know how to work it. Won't be till next week. So she's like, oh. I said, just get a black coffee. I wanted an Americano. I said, do you know where you are? I said, we're off Highway 77 in southeastern Ohio on the West Virginia border. You're not getting an Americano here.
Do you know where you are?
I'll take a black coffee. So the woman, and she goes, with raw or organic milk? Do you have whole? So the woman looks at her. And I'm getting, because now I know Jay's playing me, right? She's really getting me going. So I said, Jay, just get milk. Do you have whole milk, or do you have raw? Or and the woman says
the attendant had no idea, or was she getting wise?
Hortons is like a Dunkin' Donuts, right? Okay. No, she's just looking at it. She goes, we got Nesquik. Nesquik milk.
Yeah, I know Nesquik. Yeah,
so I said, get a black coffee. And when you get on campus, you can figure out what you're going to do with it. I said,
want an Americano.
Where do you think you are? And she's like, oh, you're exaggerating. So that was kind of my typical Jay down there in southeastern Ohio trying to get her Americano at the Tim Hortons.
Oh, my God.
But you know her, so you know what we were in for.
Yeah, and once she knew she could push your button, then
she did.
Then she's going to ask for, I'm surprised she didn't ask for like brown unprocessed organic sugar or raw, like the brown little packets.
It's like when we went to one of the bars there the year before. She's like, "What kind of Chardonnay do you have?" The woman goes, "I don't know. It's in a box." I said, "We are in a tavern." I said, "Look at the wall. It's peach schnapps and a bottle of Pop-Off
and a deer head."
What kind of Chardonnay do you have? I don't know. It's in a box.
That kind of reminds me of the time you and I were in Seattle for focus groups. This goes back a ways. It was Seattle, right?
Yeah.
And we're in a bar, and I order a vodka cranberry.
That was funny. We ordered vodka drinks.
And the guy said, you can't do that here. You have to order a beer. And this goes on. I'm like, why not?
I remember you whipped around, you looked at me.
And he goes, you got to go across the street for that. And I'm like, for what, a vodka? Yeah, he goes, you got to go across the street for the vodka cranberry, but you can get beer here. There's a whole different establishment across. Finally, it is explained to us that because of their convoluted liquor laws, they could only serve beer and wine,
right.
But if you want spirits, you had to go across the street to the bar that had the license for spirits.
That was the weirdest thing for me, because I didn't remember that when I lived out there. I didn't remember that whole shtick because I thought it was a joke. I thought we were set up.
Well, that's why you and I kept laughing at the guy. We're like, okay, now you can make our drink. Ha, ha, ha. Now you can make... No, because I can't. And then finally we had to go across the street. Or did we settle on beer? I might have had beer.
And then we went across the street.
Quick one for you. This is a customer service thing. So yesterday I had planned for a while, like over a week, to take my mom out to lunch and to take her to see the new Blade Runner movie, Blade Runner 2049, because she's a big fan of the original. I ordered the tickets. So we located a restaurant near a theater in Waterbury. And so Tim and I, we come from a part of the Connecticut where it's Danbury, Southbury, Middlebury, Waterbury. You know, it's the Barrys.
Bury them in New York. You kill them in New York and bury them in Connecticut.
So I went online. I found a theater called Apple Cinemas in Waterbury. It's where the old Naugatuck Valley Mall used to be, that area. And Mom says, oh, there's a great little Japanese place. We could have bento box beforehand. So she's all excited. I'm doing work over the weekend, and Monday morning comes, and I get an email from Fandango, the app you use to buy tickets, and it says, your purchase has been refunded successfully for the 2 tickets for the 2:15 showing of Blade Runner or something. Now I'm just staring at the screen thinking, well, maybe something changed. 5 minutes later, I get an email from a guy named Jim, and he's apparently the manager of Apple Cinemas. And he said, "Dear Mr. Nash, due to construction issues, we're going to have to cancel the matinees for the next couple of days because there's construction stuff going on. It's not safe to be in the theater, and I'm terribly sorry about this inconvenience. And come to see a movie on us when it's all done. So I sent him back a note saying, you know, thanks. I think I'll order 2 more. No, don't order any more tickets. We're going to treat you for this inconvenience. So I just thought, had I not ordered them on Fandango, we would have gone to the theater.
Found out it was closed.
And would not have been able to see the movie. So thanks to him, I was able to go to a different movie theater, not to Southington. So we had a different day, a little different lunch. Movie was different by 5 minutes. Instead of 2:15, it was 2:20.
So do you show it on your phone?
There's a barcode, like a little one of those squares.
See, I still won't do that on the train or anything. You're okay with the barcodes?
Yeah. When they work. And when they don't work is when you don't have data, or you have no service, and you're trying to show the conductor your thing. You're like, so paper is even better. But
have in your mouth.
I felt something like a I don't know, it's gone now, but it felt like something on my.
I thought you had a lifesaver.
No.
No? You want one?
No, I don't. No.
Okay.
So a big thanks to Jim at Apple Cinemas.
So did you get that movie free, or did you get a free movie coming up?
In the future. So
Okay,
I'm going to actually
cool.
make a plan to go take Mom to lunch again and see a movie that might be there for a matinee someday in the future. So that's pretty cool.
That's great.
So is everything out of my... Yeah, I felt, sometimes you get something stuck, and I just felt it. It was like a little something or other.
It's a green bean from lunch.
Yeah, we tried a new restaurant for lunch today, by the way.
Yeah.
We always go to the TikTok Diner, and I was going to be guys in the booth. We have Garrett on audio. We have John on sound. Sorry, Garrett's sound. John is video. There they are, left, right. So we were going to go to the TikTok, and I said, I can't bear the thought of going to TikTok. I mean, we love TikTok, right? But we went to a different place today, a little French bistro, Petit Poulet on 33rd Street. And we had, Tim ordered
French omelet.
French omelet. I was going to have a salad, but the minute you ordered the omelet, I was like, I think I'm going to go the omelet way.
Yeah, no, exactly.
All right, so what caught your eye?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
I have a quick one here. The headline is what caught my eye. It said, "Return of ugly sneakers with a whole lot of soul." So it says, and this came out of the Wall Street Journal. And it said, "Go ahead, call Miles Hart's sneakers ugly. He won't mind. In fact, he wants you to. When someone says that's an ugly shoe, he's like, yes, that's correct. That's the point. That's what I'm going for," said the 25-year-old actor. The shoe-raising brows as he stomps around London is the Balenciaga Triple S sneakers. So there they are there if you're watching on...
Balenciaga, the brand?
Yeah, Balenciaga, Triple S sneakers. How much do you think they retail for?
Well, the minute you said Balenciaga, I'm going to say these hideous things go like north of 500.
They're $425.
No, I was even joking when I said 500. I thought you were...
So apparently, though, they said there's this huge trend now with ugly sneakers, and they said because for so long we've been buying very sleek, stylized, simple sneakers. And so now all these makers have taken a 180, and now they're making these very clunky, ugly, really kind of like pie tin feet sneakers.
The last time you used the word pie tin, I'm not saying the story, but you made me laugh my ass off at the pie tin feet. Okay.
So they range from $650, $300 for another group. Kanye West has a Adidas 700 Wave Runner for $300.
And
Prada does one for $650.
Their purpose is to be...
Their purpose is to be ugly and to be clunky and be wide, and they almost look like you've taken a shoe and put it on top of another shoe. And so there's a bunch of pictures here that are scrolled through, and the uglier, the better.
God,
the more the more the colors don't match, the better. And they go through talking with a bunch of different people. Those ones that we showed in the beginning, the Balenciaga, are now on eBay for $850. They've been sold out. They said whenever any retailer is putting these out, they're selling out immediately. And
really,
they said,
honest to God,
yeah, this was all news to me. So they go through a bunch of different makers that make stuff, and they say, or that are producing them. They said people with a lot of visibility wear ugly sneakers, and is now having the triple down effect. So celebrity in Hollywood started this, and they said it's the ugly is beginning to sprawl. Nike recently released a very cartoonish colored sneaker, as well as New Balance's Suburban Dad running sneaks, which now are moving into the mass market for mass market appeal. Next year, all of Adidas' offerings are going to be chunky and big, says a rep from Adidas. So I just think they're hideous.
I'm
And
yeah,
I would not spend 300,
so
600, 700.
while you were showing those, I was reminded of just how things change. So there was a drive to make to go in the direction of making sneakers and footwear like that blend in,
Right.
to look stylish, to be like you could wear them go from day to night.
Or they were all black and just very simple. They said very simple, very tech.
And that reminds me of going to the gym now. When I started working out in the gym years ago, the thing was that you never wore socks. You wore the ones that only came up to the top of the shoe, like those little
Heads.
ped kind of things. Now the guys wear them all the way up to their knee or their
Black.
and they're and I'm like,
I
it's
think
just,
they look stupid.
I do too, but that's clearly what you do, right? And so now I guess ugly sneakers are.
Hey, boys, have you seen the ugly sneakers in New York?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
No.
Well, I've seen ugly sneakers in New York, but not those.
Not those.
So the other quick thing that I have is last week, Allie had mentioned that Oreos has the Mystery Oreos out.
Yeah, we did a apple pie thanks to
We did apple
Adrian.
pie. So I was in the Giant in the Philadelphia area.
You
and
couldn't find them. Allie couldn't find them.
I found them. So I gave them to the guys in the booth. So John and Garrett and Allie will
So
have.
you have to guess the flavor?
So you have to guess the flavor, and you win $50,000. So if you Google Mystery Oreo, you could enter once a day. And if you also show a picture of your receipt or a picture of you eating them, you also get an extra entry. So they're similar to us. And people are trying to guess the flavor. So I had already tasted them, but I want you to taste it.
Now,
And
Garrett,
tell me
this looks like a classic Oreo to me.
So I don't want any of you to say anything yet. Here's how it's going to work. I want all of you to taste it. Garrett's already cheated. I want all of you to taste it. And then I want you to quietly think what it is and either write it down, and then I'm going to ask each of you what flavor you think it is. Because what I thought it was is totally different than what people seem to think.
I have a good idea, I think, of what it is.
All right, so why don't you go first then, John?
Should I write it down first?
Oh, no, just tell me what you think.
I think it's Fruity Pebbles.
Did you cheat?
No, I did not. I just love Fruity Pebbles, and it smells like Fruity Pebbles and kind of tastes like it, too.
Same here, Fruity Pebbles.
No.
So, Garrett, you're Fruity Pebbles,
Yeah.
John?
Okay, they don't make this flavor, but it reminds me of a Necco wafer. You know, that kind of chalky. First I thought it was like a really bad version of Mandarin Orange or Tang, and then I thought Necco wafer. But the minute you guys said Fruity Pebbles, this definitely now tastes like a breakfast cereal.
So here's what's funny now. I immediately thought when I tasted this orange sherbet.
Oh, because I had an orange.
And so it's funny that you and I have that same taste. And I thought, oh, I think it's orange. I think it's an orange sherbet flavor. Orange and chocolate, we talked about that too as being like that. So I went online to look and see what people are saying. So there's one site called Pop Sugar that did all kinds of tests with a bunch of people in their office and on their blog, and they came down to Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops.
Hey, Fruit Loops might even be a closer match, right?
Now, they did say they said it would be a total bummer if they re-release the same flavor they did last year. Last year, they had a flavor called Fruity Crisp. We did taste this. So it was a Fruity Crisp Oreo last year. But they said they hope this isn't just a re-release of an old flavor. But everybody came down on the side of Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops.
Or Fruit Loops.
I said differently. I went and I entered orange.
There does have, the first thing I tasted was, I thought, is this like that Mandarin or?
But you could see where it could go Fruity Pebbles or it could go Fruit Loops. So a lot of people.
What do you think, guys?
Yeah, when I cheated, my first guess was creamsicle.
Oh
it
my
smells
God!
Like a creamsicle, but then when I tasted it,
You're
it was
right. When
immediately
you
Fruity
smell it.
Pebble.
Yeah, you're
I
absolutely
don't really
right.
like how it tastes.
Creamsicle. Wow. I see. That's a good one too. And they trick you further by using the plain old normal cookie, right?
And there's no packaging obviously on it. It's just
And the
very
filling
bland.
is white colored like a normal Oreo, so you don't have any
Do you
clues.
think if they did an orange one like they did with the pumpkin, they'd make it orange or
I
something?
love the creamsicle idea. In fact, now I want a cream.
So anyway, if you get a chance, head over to. You can enter as much as you want. The submissions are due by November 30th, and if you guess the right flavor, you get a chance to win $50,000. So go every day. Type in what you think it is. Fruity Pebbles.
Take our listener survey, and then do your mystery Oreo, and then you're going to be in line for 50 grand from Nabisco, or $50 from us.
So what caught your eye?
Mine is a funny VW themed caught my eye. A lot of things go back to the Beetle, don't they?
Yeah.
I tell you, the Beetle really, I mean, I learned how to drive. I was taught by you on Mary's red Beetle. Without the floor was missing. I think there was a piece of wood over the passenger side or something. And I remember you taught me how to drive. Start on a hill at the Memorial School parking lot. I don't know if you remember this at all. There was a basketball courts, and you could drive up, and you would have me stop on the hill. And here's what you do: you got to put the brake on, and I would roll backwards. And it
was a manual, and you needed to learn how to drive.
You had the patience of a saint. Tim is the best teacher for driving. Best teacher. Surpassed my dad. My dad taught me at night how to drive a normal car, but you taught me.
Why do you teach you at night?
My mother refused to teach me how to drive, so I had to wait till Dad got home to do the driving. As it is, I'm a good night driver, actually. So this story is called "The Smallest Hotel in the World is an Old VW Beetle in the Jordanian Desert." The smallest hotel in the world is basically just a VW Beetle with a gutted interior and filled with hand-embroidered sheets and pillows on a bed that pretty much fills up the car. It's a post-'71 Beetle, and I guess the guy figured that out by looking at the designs near the vent window on the front or the back. I forgot how he did that.
You have to check in?
Yeah, it's run by a little... Okay, so the hotel was started in 2011 by now 64-year-old Mohammed Al-Malahim in the tiny Jordanian village of Al-Jaya. Most of the village's population has left for more modern city life, but for a tourist, Al-Jaya offers lovely, stark desert landscape and is near a Crusader castle known as Montreal. The Middle East is filled with contradictions. Go to the Montreal castle, right? The Beetle sleeps too. It's $56 a night and includes a traditional Jordanian breakfast or lunch and excellent service from Al-Malahim and his wife and daughter,
breakfast. I wonder what that
who also crafted the Beetle's interior furnishings. Al-Malahim is planning to get more VWs to add rooms to his growing hotel. I should think that a microbus would be a suite then, right? Get the old VW microbus and you could have like a hotel. I don't know what that thing is to the left. I think that's
the bathroom.
I think it's an outhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole place is an outhouse. I mean, who the hell would want to go to Jordan?
God. That's the castle. That's a picture of the castle. But in all the pictures of the Beetle Hotel,
castle.
It's that
in the
painting.
back?
Yeah, it's that painting on the outhouse thing. But in all the pictures of the Beetle from different angles, that little building's there, so it must be an outhouse. So yeah, you sleep in that.
You got
thing.
a better chance of me going to Afghanistan than going there, and
or to be in the world's tiniest hotel in
actually
a VW.
Afghanistan. Oh, I like the rug out front. It's like a 10,000 Maniacs.
Here's what I thought. I guess they don't get rain over there, right? Not much. Because that's all kind of like, it doesn't look exactly weatherproof to me. I mean,
is it ISIS-proof? I mean, is it? I just don't know. I have no desire to go to the Middle East. I know people are going to...
Here's my thought. You're sleeping in the VW Beetle. You wake up in the middle of the night and you lift a scorpion off. And because it's a desert. You toss it out. Oh, that damn scorpion. Get that out of the Beetle. So there you go. That's what caught my eye.
Where the heck did you find that?
Jalopnik.
Oh, you love that Jalopnik.
I love that site. They always have classic... They do stuff with classic old cars, and then they review modern stuff.
So our business birthday today...
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So John Francis Dodge, he was born today on this date, October 25th, in 1864.
The inventor of dodgeball?
That would have been good.
But I don't think so.
What the obvious thing is. John, American automobile manufacturing pioneer and co-founder of the Dodge brothers.
Oh, my God.
So Dodge, Dodge Motor Cars. So he was born in Niles, Michigan. His father had a foundry and a machine shop. He and his younger brother were inseparable. His younger brother's name was Horace. And they were inseparable through adulthood. The family moved to Detroit. They both took jobs at a boiler plant. One guy was a machinist. Horace was more of the inventor, tinkerer, and John was the more sales guy. They ended up opening up their own machine shop and doing work for Oldsmobile, which was called Olds Motors then, and then did a lot of work. They were a key supplier for Ford Motor Company. They built all the engines. So they decided to go out on their own, and in 1914, they opened up Dodge Brothers, and they developed their own line of automobiles.
Wow.
And they began building motor trucks, military equipment during the arms buildup of World War I. And in October 1917, they produced the very first commercial car. And then they marketed both cars and trucks at the end of the war. Because of his temper, John was often, John had a temper, had crude behavior. They called him the red-haired Dodge. He was socially unacceptable for most of the well-heeled of Detroit, but he was a necessary evil they had to deal with because his wealth made him very influential in the community. He was also active in Republican politics in Michigan. They both died within a short window of each other by catching contracted influenza and pneumonia while in New York City in 1918 during the flu epidemic.
I didn't know that Dodge did a little van like that.
Yeah, a little van.
It looks a lot like the VW minibus, the microbus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not. Okay, sorry.
So, no. So John died January 14th at the Ritz-Carlton right here in New York at 55. He was
55?
Yep, he was interred in an Egyptian-style family mausoleum, which there's a picture there of it on the right if you're watching along here on YouTube and Facebook, and the Woodlawn Cemetery, guarded by 2 sphinxes. Then his brother died the next month, or 2 months later.
Is the brother buried in the same...
Yeah, the family's buried there.
Okay.
Their widows sold the automobile business to Dillon Reed, an investment banker, for $146 million in 1925.
Not bad.
Which would be $1.3 billion in today's numbers. There were a couple of odd things about them. They refused to open any mail that wasn't sent to both of them. So if you just sent a letter to John or just sent a letter to Horace, it never got opened.
But you had to send to John and Horace.
John and Horace.
Oh, that is weird. Okay, that's
then
weird.
Also the logo. So if you go back to the logo, this kind of caught my eye. It looks like the Star of David. If you see their logo there.
I think it's more of a. Is it the Masons?
No, it's not. But what they did, you're close. They made it clear that their design was not chosen to anger first Henry Ford. Henry Ford was apparently anti-Semitic. And they worked for him, and they said that this was kind of a dig at Henry Ford, but it wasn't. They said that the 1914 emblem, which they used, which had the interlocking triangles, or the Star of David, was not even associated with Judaism at the time. They said that there are actually 2 interlocking deltas, which are Greek letters symbolizing engineering. So each letter was for each brother. Each delta was for each brother.
Okay.
And it said it overall represented the union of the 2 brothers into one reinforced, intertwined D&B since they were so close.
And you know what's funny about that is I like the explanation that it poked a finger in Ford's eye.
So you wonder.
I guess it's not. I guess.
No, they're 2 deltas.
That's what you call 2 birds with 1 stone.
It's like it's not a choice; it's the way we're built. Why are you getting into politics? No. It's about
2 birds,
cars.
1 stone.
Yeah. That was the business part.
Yeah, I like that. I stupidly did not associate when I looked through the deck. I did not associate Dodge because I didn't see the pictures of the cars. I didn't associate him with the cars, and that's bad. I should know that. Hey, folks, as you may or may not know, but now you will know, Deep Discount is a partner of ours here on the Focus Group, and we want to thank them for being a partner of ours, and they want to thank you for going to Deep Discount and for purchasing your movies and all your entertainment needs there. Vinyl, toys, accessories, garments. Of course, I only go to get Blu-rays and DVDs because I'm kind of down that rabbit hole.
Concert T-shirts.
Concert T-shirts, right. And so, yeah, the Deep Discount team wants to thank all of our listeners for making this a successful partnership. Go to focusgroupradio.com, click on the Deep Discount logo, and start your journey. This week, favorite sale of mine, it's the Mystery and Film Noir sale. And I went through this. Me and Tim actually always hand-pick movies. I'm fascinated by what you picked, by the way.
Why?
Because you surprise me.
You think I'm a total moron. I mean, I could be a moron. I'm not a total moron. I think you only want to watch his movies?
Yeah, now you've got interesting.
I've got odd taste.
No, I wouldn't say odd. You got good taste. It's different than mine.
It's different.
You're not flying around the stars, and you're not doing sci-fi.
I'm grounded.
But I picked one movie I've never seen before that I'd like to see, and it's available at Deep Discount. It's from 1965. It's black and white. It's about 90 minutes, and it stars Bette Davis, and it's called The Nanny. Now, have you seen this before?
I want to think I've seen this because Matt...
Look at that face she's
Matt
got.
was a huge Bette Davis fan.
Do you think he saw it?
When Matt and I lived together, he had every Bette Davis DVD and movie, and I think I remember... I can't tell you a thing about it, but I think I do remember him watching it.
So I'll read what
it should be fun.
It says, Bette Davis, Wendy Craig, Pamela Franklin, William Dix, a frightening thriller about an English governess who is accused of murdering a little girl in her care and blaming it on the girl's brother. Years later, when the brother returns from a mental institution, His mother gets poisoned and his aunt turns up dead before the shocking truth is revealed.
Sure it's not the John Bonet story? It sounds like. Blame it on the brother, kill the kid.
So close.
Yeah, John Bonet.
So yeah, I'm going to actually pick this one up because I am a fan of Bette Davis
she's
myself,
great.
and she'll chew through any role she's in. So I'm really curious to see. But this is part of the film, the Mystery and Film Noir sale. The other one I picked, which is a mystery, but it was the template for a lot of stuff to come, is Gosford Park. Bob Altman is the director, and I know our friend at Deep Discount, Lauren, I think is a big Bob Altman fan, although you are too, actually. Yeah. So Gosford Park stars Maggie Smith, Kristen Scott Thomas, Jeremy Northam. Clive Owen's in the movie as well. In fact, he plays a butler in the movie. This ended up becoming sort of the template for Downton Abbey. In fact, a lot of the actors in Gosford Park show up in Downton
Every time
Abbey.
I hear Gosford, I think of foggy, cloudy spider webs. I don't know why. It's like Gossamer.
It's a baffling murder at a British weekend retreat. Everyone's the suspect. So, what did you pick?
So I picked, and you're right. You know, I do have a different sort of taste. I love these coming of age movies, or any movie that's set on a high school, set in a high school or a college, like 16 Candles. I love.
Classic.
I love Breakfast
Pretty in
Club, Pretty in Pink. You know, even Animal House, Ferris Bueller, St. Elmo's Fire, all that sort of stuff. One of my favorites was Class. Remember Class?
No,
With Rob
Oh,
Lowe.
you. And that's a mystery and a film noir.
No. I was just trying to remember that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Before I get there.
I do remember Class. Yeah.
So Class was one of those that I had a little bit of a twist and turn in it. I think could be a thriller, but it didn't fit in the deep discount.
It wasn't on that page. You got to shop on that.
Young boy getting with his classmate's mom. For me, that's a thriller. But anyway, not according to deep discount.
But it's not film noir. It could be if it's shot in black and white.
So I picked The Skulls, which is a 2000 came out in 2000.
It's a fraternity or something.
Yeah, it's based on Skull and Bones, which is one of the secret societies at Yale. And even though they never admit it, it's all the imagery and everything, and it leads you directly to Yale. It's about rowing and the secret societies, and they've got Ys on their jerseys, and the team's called the Bulldogs. Who do you think it is?
Okay.
So it's called The Skulls. It's a 2000, and they call it an American psychological thriller, directed by Rob Cohen. And it's based upon the conspiracy theory surrounding Yale University's Skull and Bones, which is a student society. It was critically panned. It was... I liked it just because I'm a big fan of this whole secret society thing, but it did have two successful spin-offs, which were direct-to-video, The Skulls 2 and The Skulls 3, which came out in 02 and 04.
Did the Skulls involve any locker room scenes? Or
There's all kinds of stuff in fighting, but John Kerry and George Bush, when they ran against each other, were both Skullmen. Mm-hmm. And they were 1 year apart. And you get tapped, only 12 people get tapped. The number 322 is very much involved. But there's so many conspiracy theories around this that these people in this Skull and Bones run the world. And based upon the people they choose and the people that's in this secret society.
It sounds like the movie could have been even better based on that whole thought process, right?
There's so much about it. So I love the movie just because I'm just always fascinated, and I try to read as much as you can because it is a real life secret society. They have a place in upstate New York nobody can get near, Deer Island.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's you can't even get in the building at Yale. The building is surrounded. Nobody can get in. It's
wow.
That's why I picked Skulls, because I'm fascinated by that whole
I threw in two other movies. One is film noir and mystery, and it's L.A. Confidential. And L.A. Confidential is a really stylish, well-done film. 1997, Kevin Spacey. And it's a nice toss back to the way Hollywood. It's a great-looking, beautiful picture, and it's definitely film noir.
The way things used to be.
The way things used to be. And then just to round out our Deep Discount discussion today, I wanted to remind viewers that you can go to Deep Discount and pick up Blade Runner: The Final Cut.
For God's sakes.
It's on Blu-ray. This is the version that Ridley Scott put his final stamp of approval on. This is the one you want to watch if you want to catch up before you go see Blade Runner 2049.
Or you need to just go to sleep. Put it on.
Oh, listen to you. Oh, my God.
Right,
Garrett loves it. Yeah.
You don't love it, do you?
No, Garrett loves you talking about the movie.
I put Blade Runner on. I tried. You took me to the Dollar Movie in Watertown, Connecticut to see Blade Runner. You sat there with the drool cup. I think I snored through the whole thing. And that was in high school.
Listen to that. You sat there with a drool cup. I had like that
there with your mouth open,
like the Dan Aykroyd sketch on Saturday Night Live. Remember when he had that thing? Oh, with the little cup.
You get fascinated with a moving picture. You can't even get through to you. So you can get that at deep discount.
All right, so
go to Focus Group Radio. And so go to focusgroupradio.com. And like us while you're there, too, and see everything else that's going on. But there's a deep discount logo there with John the Shark. Arr. Click on it, and then that'll take you right to deep discount. And there's the film noir and mystery sale. And what do we say, Garrett?
Thanks, deep discount.
There you go.
Blade Runner didn't put him to sleep.
Blade Runner, no. Hey, we're going to be right back after this quick break. As John mentioned, we've got a listener survey that went out. Text the letters FG to 25827. John will remind you when we get back. We're going to do a little random sample LGBT news from around the country and the globe.
The globe.
Stay with us.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Try, really try.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
I never try anything. I just do it.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash with my good friend and co-host Tim Bennett. If you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, welcome to the show. Feel free to call us at 877-962-6846 if you want to join the conversation. And I'd like to remind you that we just launched our 2017 listener survey. It's Tim did the survey in 90 seconds.
Yeah. Click, click, click.
SurveyMonkey says max 4 minutes, and we're not kidding because we hate, personally, we're marketing and advertising guys. We love research, but I hate taking stuff that they lie to me. Like you answer the first thing, then there's 30 pages. We're not doing that.
There's only two or maybe three things where if you want
to enter something, but it's mostly multiple choice. If you want to get a link to the survey, we're going to be posting it on Facebook and Twitter. And if you want a link sent to your mobile device, we have a text system set up to help you do that. You send the letters FG to the number 25827. The only thing the system does is send you back a little reply saying thank you for taking the survey with a link directly to it. If you take it, you're going to be entered to win one of 5 $50 Visa gift cards, and if you do it within 24 hours of the video show today or the audio drop on Saturday, we're going to double the amount of entry. So you'll be entered twice. Right. And all winners, of course, get Focus Group Radio socks. Okay, now it's time for the random sample. Tim, I think you go first, right?
Yeah, you would change the order a little bit. Now, and also Brian Brian from Madmark 360 should be monitoring our social feed. So, Brian, if you want to call us, let us know what's going on there. If there's anything we need to be have immediate talk to, but there's usually a show within the show going on over
which
there.
I always love.
We understand. So, in this random sample or this article that I found came out 2 days ago, and it was in the Washington Blade. And the headline was, "Only whores and very small children wear red shoes."
Tim, I saw this in the deck, and I had no idea where this is going to go, so I can't wait.
This is great. This is the very first major openly gay appointment of the Trump administration. He is a nominee. Rick Grinnell is our nominee for U.S. Ambassador to Germany. And he's come under fire for recent posts he's made, where he's made snide comments about women and their appearance on Twitter, about several prominent women. And this story came back to 1995. So in his hearing, of course, leave it to Connecticut, Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut queried him about his comment about only children and whores wear red shoes. So he said it was a joke. He said, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very caring person and very sensitive, and I also appreciate good humor. He said, unfortunately, there are times where you intend to be humorous or funny, and it turns out not to be so. So back in He also worked for the Bush administration. Had a career in government. Worked at the U.S. mission for the United Nations with the George W. Bush administration. Also worked with Senator Mark Sanford. So they said that. So they found this. He said it on the Chris Matthews show before he was on MSNBC. And a woman, one of the staff people came in. She had a flowery dress on and red shoes. And Rick looked at her and said, "Didn't your mother ever tell you only whores and very small children wear red shoes?" She got very offended. Oh my God. She went to Chris Matthews. They got all upset. He said, "I was only kidding. Come on." But the red shoes. So he pushed
the red shoes.
He pushed it. So they said this is just a string of remarks that our future ambassador to Germany has done. They said he also said he tweeted at Rachel Maddow. He called her the lesbian MSNBC host, said she needed to take a breath and put on a necklace. Also said she looked a little like Justin Bieber. Then he said he tweeted about Callista Gingrich and questioned whether she snaps her hair on. That didn't go over well. And then he said Hillary Clinton was starting to look like Madeleine Albright. So they went through this whole list of tweets.
And did they do this in the hearing?
In the hearings. We missed it. This was just a couple days ago.
Someone once told me C-SPAN is the best TV there is, and I'm beginning to think that. Are you serious?
So Chris Murphy went through all these things about prominent women and how he's.
So a staffer sat there and dug all
this up, and they said that he said it was all jokes, and sometimes your humor works, sometimes it doesn't. He worked for the Mitt Romney's 2012 campaign and got in trouble there as well because he antagonized a reporter and said something about her. He said that he didn't know if it was his tweets or because he was gay that he was let go. So it goes on and on. It says the profile of him, though, and he didn't want anyone to know he was gay when he was 28 years old back in the early 90s. They called him the Republican Party animal. He's not on the market for a relationship. He works out twice a day, plays softball with his old friends just to get through the day. He says he just doesn't have time for a relationship. It wouldn't be fair. And they said he was the most perfect-looking person, perfectly pressed and perfectly dressed. But he's been in a relationship with a man for 15 years. He's up to be our ambassador to Germany, and they've yet to take a vote.
They might be slow walking that to the finish.
Can you believe we don't have an ambassador to Germany right now?
There was a statistic I saw the other day about how many vacant posts there are, period.
I would take something. I would take an ambassadorship to Botswana. I mean, what you know?
No. You want
New Zealand,
you want Germany or London.
Well, those are two. You got to work there. Yeah. You pick something. Panama.
hey,
Costa Rica.
Let's go watch the ships go through the canal.
Pick something.
The house looks over one of the locks.
Uruguay. What's going on there?
You never know.
What was your first?
Well, mine is decidedly different. My first one. And it was a lot on a lot of the LGBT news sites ran this story as well because you and I both had this originally.
Okay,
yeah. It's actually terrible. It's a Russian pop star Zalimkhan Bakayev tortured and killed in Chechnya anti-gay roundup. Sources are reporting that Russian singer Zalimkhan Bakayev was arrested, tortured, and murdered by Chechen authorities due to suspicion of homosexuality. Bakayev was last seen on August 8th in Grozny, where he had come from Moscow for his sister's wedding. His Instagram account has been mysteriously deleted. A small Twitter account in his name remains active, but there's no updates. And a gentleman named Igor Koket.
Don't try, John.
Koketkovov. These are,
Just say Igor. Just say a man. These Russian names, we can't pronounce them.
Igor Kok, sorry.
Kokov.
Of the Russian LGBT network made a statement. He said, at the end of August, we received confirmation of our earlier presumption that Bakayev was detained by Chechen authorities due to suspicion of homosexuality. A source close to activists in the region have stated that Bakayev, 26, was tortured to death. He arrived in Grozny, was picked up by police within 3 hours, and they claimed within 10 hours he was murdered. So this is just one of the examples of what's going on in other parts of the world that our government and the world is totally just pass card. You don't hear much about it, and it's really.
They say whether they found the body?
No, they have not. They have
so
not.
They
recovered
presume
the body.
He's dead, or
presumption of death. Yeah, there was a YouTube video that someone had made that claimed it was him, but it was an imposter or something, and it was. So you look at a young man like that who's got music and he's pop star and super handsome guy, I think. And he was actually afraid to go to his sister's wedding. There's articles about how he was commenting to friends that he did not want to go to Chechnya, but it's his sister's wedding, and boom.
And isn't there, and I could be wrong, but from what I read or skimmed through, isn't that also one of the enclaves of a lot of the unrest between the Muslim population and the Christian or non-Muslim population? And I know they were rounding up. And you're right. It's getting zero play anywhere outside of LGBT media.
Yeah.
That they're rounding up gay and lesbians or gay men specifically, and arresting them. And who knows what's happened to a lot of them? It's frightening.
Well, and you do hear some of it come out in the news, but it's not like making the evening news. But we're instead having these spirited debates about what the president said to a widow of an army veteran or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's the first one, and it's a sad story, but I hope we don't hear too many more of these. I would like to hear none of these, frankly. I wish this wasn't happening, but
you're exactly right. My second one came from the Dallas Voice, and the writer's name was James Russell. And this one, to me, I thought was another one of those odd headlines that said 30 million Americans have eating disorders, and I'm among them. And so there's a whole article written about how he talks about eating disorders and how it's just not paid much attention to, and that it's usually people associated with straight young white females, and particularly with anorexia or bulimia and a number of other eating disorders like binge eating and as I said, bulimia. So he said that people prone to eating disorders also have a personality profile where they're very anxious, they're perfectionists, they're smart, they're people pleasers, they overexercise. This usually starts around puberty when it triggers. And he started poking around and seeing that that gay and lesbian, or particularly LGBT people, have a 12 times more likely to report an eating disorder than their heterosexual peers, which I thought was a high number. So he said that gays and lesbians and
12 times
more likely to report. So it's no wonder that gay and bisexual men are 12 times more likely to report an eating disorder than their heterosexual peers. He says, think about it. You're facing bullying, discrimination, fear of rejection, and of course you're afraid on top of everything else that goes with you growing up. They said overall in the population, only 30% of the people will even talk about it. So he's advocating that LGBT centers and LGBT programming becomes more. He wants them to add eating disorders and identify this as an issue within the LGBT community because he thinks it's being ignored right now and it's underground. And so he suggests that that centers and nonprofits start adding it to their programming, because it shouldn't just be an isolated case where people have to be fearful of it. So I read that and so this guy himself struggled with it, and he said the best part is if you do get help, you can then have a normal existence and with food.
I think the number is surprisingly high to me. I'm not surprised by the association of the disorder, the eating disorder with gay and bisexual men. Particularly when we see the disorder in young women, a lot of it has to do with body dysmorphia, our impressions of ourselves based on what we see in the media, on TV, perfect body, the whole, and with gay men, that kind of is even times 10, right?
Right, and they said that so much of it is, some of it is associated genetically.
Predisposition to have
predisposition to, and they said typically those prone to eating disorders have personalities that do not take change or transition well, even if they have positive stressors. So they said there's still not enough studies. It's somewhat inconclusive because they haven't been studying that. But he said as LGBT people become more visible,
these issues
are starting to pop up, and he thinks we just need to be aware of it. And when we have these health resources in cities, that they need to add the eating disorder programming in there, because that may be an issue that's not on anyone's radar.
And wouldn't be.
People will talk about it.
It wouldn't be, because you're right. It's a very quiet disease. Actually,
so far we've got lots of happiness.
Hey, well, in the
news.
This is a happy one, though. My next one's a happy one. Atlanta's Pride announced their grand marshal for their Pride Parade, and it's a really cool guy named David Cohen, who is famous in the community for being he's a freelance interpreter for the deaf, and amazing guy. Born in Indianapolis, Indiana. Cohen lived in several northern states growing up and described his childhood as amazing. He had wonderful parents. He had an active youth, spending his time traveling, boating, driving cars, and snowmobiles. I have not read that in someone's bio. No, he grew up in the north. He's been a mainstay at social justice movements. He has translated in the Women's March this past January for Black Lives Matter and anti-Trump rallies, in addition to Atlanta Pride. My favorite and most memorable event was to see the interaction of deaf people in the LGBTQ community. They were able to participate in the community events without having to worry about the communication barriers. So he's out there doing that. Cohen said that the deaf, gay, and lesbian community in Atlanta is vibrant and thriving. There is a deaf, gay, and lesbian community in Atlanta as well as almost everywhere else. Usually we meet for coffee or we get together for dinners once a month at different restaurants and coffee houses to socialize. We also have different events that allow our hearing friends to come along and enjoy socializing with all of us. I think it's a fascinating thing, to be honest with you. It's one of those... and he says we are not a silent community of people, and so Cohen doesn't limit his activity to the LGBT community, though. He's done work for all different organizations, and he's a very, very skilled person with American Sign Language. He's one of the top people, and he's a freelancer. He does his freelance. So
it is a interest.
I'm fascinated by it because I take my sight and my hearing completely for. I don't take it. I would say this: when I was younger, I took it completely for granted. You know, you ever play one of these sick games where someone says to you, if you had to lose one sense, what would you lose? Well, I'm not going to lose. I'd
lose taste.
And then you'd eat the Fruit Loop or whatever the Mystery Oreos are. But I think we live in a very interesting time to be deaf because there's more technology that can help you understand what's happening. But I think it's a big challenge and a big hurdle.
I had a cousin that was, she still is, I don't see her much anymore, but deaf, and when her friends and weddings, funerals, unfortunately, would get around, it was interesting to watch her because she and her friends, I mean, they were very much off to their own because none of us knew. Her parents did knew sign language, but it's an interesting piece there, and good that Atlanta recognized it. I remember in the car business when there would be deaf customers that would come in, they didn't want a radio.
Why?
They didn't want to pay for a radio, which is understandable, but the cars come with radios.
I remember you told me that story once where I don't want the radio, but
it's like the Mennonites didn't want hubcaps.
They want hubcaps. So congratulations to David Cohen for being the Atlanta Pride's Grand Marshal.
My third one, John. Are you an androphile?
An androphile.
Any of you boys an androphile?
Definitely not.
Garrett knows. Listen, are you poking around again?
Garrett's
on the ball today.
Oh, he's always on the ball.
So an androphile. So men who love men but who don't want to be called gay are now opting for this new label.
Androphile? This is a made up thing, or this is like a...
It's catching on. This was in England. Men who love men but don't identify with the LGBTQ community have come up with a new word to describe themselves, as an interview with the BBC brings to light. Nicholas, and I'll be like you, Chinardet, I think, Chinardet. Chinardet?
Chinardet.
I know. Nick says, I think homosexual is too clinical, and lots of people use it negatively. Gay has a certain lifestyle attached to it, which I don't recognize in myself. So I don't relate to the cliches that are attached to the gay scene. I don't go clubbing. I don't go shopping. So he says that he's come up with an alternative term which describes him as a man who finds other men sexually attractive. He's calling it an androphile.
Where's the andro come from?
He created the term with the knowledge of the Greek language, putting two words together. Andro means man.
Okay.
Phile means to love something, denoting love of something. So androphile.
Man
so he said it's a polite, man love. It's what I wrote down. It's a polite, non-specific way to ask what a certain person is attracted to. So, for instance, Allie in the booth would be an androphile woman, which is heterosexual. She likes man. She likes men. So you can be an androphile woman or an androphile man. There you go. The word is now being co-opted by other gay young men who identify as the alt-right. Boys in the Booth might know that too with one of your other shows. Henning Diesel's a right-wing libertarian who lives near Hamburg, Germany. He rejects the word gay, and he's begun to identify himself as an androphile. He said, gay is too much part of LGBT, and I don't see myself as part of that. He explains he doesn't identify with gay music like Lady Gaga or Ariana Grande or Miley Cyrus. He also doesn't watch Queer as Folk.
Yeah, well, I don't either. I mean, this is like...
He admits he's associated with the alt-right.
Okay.
But he really thinks his sexual orientation is homosexual. He describes his personality as having male characteristics like courage and diligence. Very traditional.
Oh, courage and... So women don't have courage and diligence.
So he's an androphile. So, John,
stuff.
you could be an androphile, which is straight men having... Well, no, I don't know what it is.
I'm going to puzzle over
You're an androphile.
Androphile... I got a
men who want to have sex with men that want to be called gay. I call that straight men.
You call that straight men.
Right?
Well, you can skip.
Men who love men but don't want to be called gay are now called androphiles. That's the headline.
All right. So there's so many ways to skin a cat. That poor cat. Oh, that poor cat. Skin a cat.
There are things called bro jobs that I've heard of.
What's a bro job?
Yeah, I
think I know.
Yeah, I
where
think
you're just friends.
Just like, yeah, dude.
And you're like, yeah, I'll help you out.
Yeah. Give you a bro job.
Give me a bro.
It's like
you know anyone who's got a bro job?
No, I just see articles about it.
Did you ever get one?
Never, no.
Not yet.
Oh, the night's young.
Yeah. You know, when someone answers,
really? So it's a bro job. You must know somebody. A 6-pack at the frat house. That's when that happens, right?
Not, I like John. Not yet. I like that. That's optimistic.
Yeah,
That's forward thinking. It's like someday.
You never know. Keep all options open.
Always have options. We always say that in business too. Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
One time
have options.
John, think of this. One time as a sidebar, Chris Crenshaw and I someone broke into a car. We caught the guy. The guy said, "If you let me go, I'll give you a blowjob." So this is the quick story. Cop comes. All the guy kept saying is, "I'll give you a blowjob if you let me go." So the cop comes, and this other security guard's with us. It's like, "What happened here?" He goes, "This guy keeps wanting to give me a blowjob." The cop's like, "That's not against the law." He goes, "I want to know what happened here."
That's not against the law.
So he keeps saying he wanted to give me a blowjob. The cop's like, "No, what happened?" So he says it again. The cop says, "You know what? You had time before we got here. You should have done it. Some are better than others." He said, "But I need to know what the crime is here." And we were dying laughing. He's like, "You had time before we got here. You should have done it. Some are better than others."
Cops have
city cops
who have seen a lot.
Seen it all.
They have some of the best stories and the best demeanors because they deal with people on all different levels, right?
Should have done it.
All right, my last random sample this week is a slightly Debbie Downer. New poll shows almost 50% of LGBT workers report feeling bullied in the workplace. This actually was surprising to me, given that we were just at the Out and Equal conference, and you would think that this might not be the case. Numbers have been released that state 4 out of 10 LGBT workers report feeling bullied at their place of employment because of their orientation. This is 11 percentage points higher than the national average of all workers combined, according to Harris and Career Builder, who conducted the survey. The findings state that the LGBT workers say that they were picked on for their personal attributes, such as their appearance or gender, while 47% said they were gossiped about. And then LGBT workers also said they were ignored, falsely accused of mistakes, or judged on different standards than other workers. So in a nutshell, 56% of LGBT workers report being bullied repeatedly on the job. 1 in 5 have experienced health issues because of bullying. 41% of LGBT workers have left a job because they were bullied. And 72% of LGBT workers do not report their bullying to HR. And at the very end of this study, in big letters, it says 32 states currently do not have LGBT non-discrimination and workplace protection laws in place.
I think this is more prevalent with gay men, though, versus the whole LGBT.
You know, that's a great question. And when I read the study results and the press release, they did not specifically look at the gender differences. Right. And I'm wondering about what you just said, because when we were over on Sirius, we would often hear from some of our listeners in different parts of the country and in different industries, might be trucking, might be a factory worker, that would have very serious problems on the workplace because, and this, so I don't know, I don't think they're necessarily, I don't get the impression we're talking about IBM here. Do you? I mean, I think it goes on, but I don't, like when we think of a well-oiled corporation with the really great HR departments, the outreach.
No, there was, now again, it was probably 15, 20 years ago, but there was a lot of stuff that went on at Subaru that was not cool to particularly gay employees. Of things that went on and things that were said and things that even came out of HR.
Well, the study says taking the issue to HR might not always solve the problem because not all employees are prepared to handle workplace bullying, and neither are the HR departments.
I mean, I told you when I first started there, I was supposed to go down to do a seminar, and I didn't feel well, and I said, I didn't feel well. Could I postpone it to another day? And the woman looked at me. She goes, "Oh, what's wrong, baby? You got AIDS?" Yeah. Now, this is the head of human resources, and
so that's someone you're not going to be. That's not an ally.
I went to my boss. I wrote it down. I went through the whole thing, and everyone just kind of shrugged. What are you going to do? So I don't. I'm not so sure.
So you think my thesis of I see your point.
I think it happens, and I think it happens. We've always said that I think LGBT people are the last group that it's okay to discriminate against in this country. Probably that, and yeah, I think it is.
So it was a little bit of a sobering thing coming on the heel. I mean, when I read the study, I was like, wow, we were just down celebrating workplace advancement at Out and Equal.
It's some tough news this go around in the random sample, but good.
I have to agree with you. When I was looking for something like the gay landlord who broke into someone's apartment, had sex in their bedroom, then wiped himself clean with the woman's wedding dress.
The only thing we have to look forward to is a bro job.
Now, don't you have one last one, right?
No.
That was it.
That was it.
Three, okay. Because I reversed the order. That's what I did.
I know. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to do some shop talk. It's a quick one. It's 4 expressions to avoid that make you sound clueless at work. And we're going to go through that after this quick break. Stay with us.
Time.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. Now back to the Focus Group with Tim and John.
Because he has a lot of chutzpah.
An entertaining look at the world of business.
Heads are spinning, heads are spinning.
Listen, laugh, and learn.
I am not gay. I never have been gay.
That's perverse.
Larry Craig. I just go to bathrooms in airports and lurk in stalls.
I've got a wide stance. Who picks up anything on the Florida bound?
Focus Group Radio here. John Nash with Tim Bennett. Quick final reminder, our listener survey is up. You want to send yourself, if you want to get the link to the survey and you want to do it on your phone, we've set up a text system for it. Send the letters FG to the number...
The number 25827.
Thank you. I had it memorized because we had that number for a while. So the number send FG to 25827 and take the survey. It should take less than 4 minutes. We are very big on multiple choice, and we hate getting bamboozled by surveys ourselves, so we assure you that it will be a pleasant experience all the way through.
Get one of 50 gift cards.
$50.
50. One of 5 $50 gift cards. Say that right.
And in fact, if you were wise and you won one of those $50 gift cards, you'd take it over to Deep Discount and get yourself some movies.
Get yourself a sure thing in the movie Class.
In the movie Class that Tim likes.
What's the shop talk, Mr.
Tim found a great shop talk called 4 Expressions to Avoid That Make You Sound Clueless at Work. And this is basically an article about how we communicate and how many people, whether through just the notion of they think they're communicating nicely or something, they end up not saying what they really want to say, and they cause more confusion in doing so. So why don't we start with the first one?
So the first one was, I'm not sure, but. So they said, when people say this, they said, it's okay. If you're really not sure, say it. But if you are sure, you need to have the confidence to say, here's what I think versus I'm not sure, but. So they said for starters, it's okay not to know something or not to be sure about it. After all, false confidence is often as bad as open ignorance, but saying I'm not sure when you really do have a decent grasp on the matter only undercuts your authority or your cause. So it says it really shows that you lack confidence.
The example they gave was an employee saying, I'm not quite sure, but I should have the report done by Friday.
Right.
In contrast, you would really say, I'm waiting on a few more data points from our finance team, so as long as those come through tomorrow, the report will be ready by Friday. Big difference.
Right, because that's if I said to you, John, do you have the report done for Friday? You're either going to say yes, or you say, I've got a couple more data points, but yes, I'll have it for Friday. Or I'm not really sure because I still have to get a few things. And so then I'd ask you, is it going to be done Friday?
Yeah. So now you've extended. Now, yeah, it's so. If one was I'm not. So avoid. I'm not sure, but.
Yeah.
The
What's
second one
two?
is sort of or kind of. When someone says, I sort of think or I kind of suspect, it's clear they either don't want to come out and speak the truth or else don't really know how their own mind is operating on this. That one's pretty much made sense to me. What was the example? I sort of liked the work you... Yeah, here's one. A boss says, I sort of liked the work you turned in last week. I sort of liked the work you turned in last week. What does that mean? That means like, yeah, I sort of liked it. It's okay.
It's too soft of language. It's like sort of, kind of. I don't know. It's a little wishy-washy.
They lack clarity for team members.
Right,
and so you want to avoid sort of and kind of.
The other three things, there's three of these, and the third point
I love
was
this one.
Maybe, possibly, and potentially. And they said that, and they also added largely, hopefully, and basically, they said these words smack of indecision. If the manager says to a staff member, hopefully you'll be okay with this change, his listener might wonder whether she actually has leeway to challenge it. So they said too many qualifiers will have a similar effect. So they said it just reeks of indecision. What are you giggling at?
Because Tim populated if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and if you're not, I'll describe it to you, but Tim put a picture up on the graphics package of Mike Myers in Austin Powers. 1 billion, because he starts out with a million. Everybody laughs.
Indecisive.
Yeah, he's indecisive.
Too many qualifiers. So what was number 4?
4 was using the past tense when you mean the present. And this was intriguing to me because I actually find myself doing this. And it might be just as the way I speak or the way I soft pedal, but it says, how many times have you been in a meeting and heard a colleague say, quote, I thought I should mention that, or I was thinking we should. And we've heard this. Yeah. I hear this all the time. Too. But I think that this one...
It's soft pedaling something.
Yeah, you want to...
Have you thought about...
Have you thought about... Because I thought that was a way you would give critique to somebody without,
Without being...
Yeah. So they said instead of that, compare these past tense expressions to phrases like, I want to mention, or I think we should. And they're actually not, they're not rude. I mean, I want to mention the following. I want to mention that list is not ready to be used for a direct mail campaign, or I think we should move 10,000 over to this budget. Right. I mean, there's just statements, right?
I think you should know that.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was always done. I used to always have to go to charm school in corporate America because I was too direct. So instead of me saying... So I would say, I don't think that's a good idea. That's not a good idea. And then it was like, no, you should say something. Have you thought of doing it this way? I'm going to give another opportunity that we could look at. I'm
going to give our audience an example of Tim in corporate America in a boardroom with 15 people around this enormous table. And it was a big direct mail campaign.
Oh, yeah.
And all the staff were talking about the lists that because Subaru rarely did direct mail, it was a headache before it even began because you realized that they were all pinning their hopes on one campaign. And you kept saying, to really be effective, you got to be doing this every couple of months. Yeah. But you put up with it and you approved the budget, and then the lists start, and everybody around the table, hey, Tim, what if we do this? And finally, you could finish the story, but you're like, here's what...
Which
that was the skiing.
Oh, I said, we're going to get a lesbian teacher who owns a dog that's a geologist that's part of the Leave No Trace and mountain bikes and skis, and
she's
a nurse.
A nun or a nurse. Yeah, it was a nurse. That's what it was. And
we'd have to pay for her.
But you did it because you listened, because you never, in these big meetings, Tim often just sat and listened, and then weighed in. And I remember when you finally said, okay, here's where we're at, and you went through this whole thing. There was a pause, everybody starts laughing because they all realized how ridiculous this was, that they were trying to take all these lists, and the meeting got solved. But it was like, have you thought of, can I suggest?
Right. I said, we're going to end up giving them money to take the car. You're going to do it. A lesbian who skis, who's married, who's got a dog, and leave no
She's
trace.
a scientist.
I also got in trouble once. I said we could save money and just send one to Arkansas because they were transferable between relatives. So...
I can see how that didn't go over well.
We only have to send one or two to Mississippi and Arkansas because they're transferable.
Oh, my God.
Family members. So we'll save on mail.
I could totally see how that did not go over well.
Considering they were all from the South.
Oh, my God.
Hey, that's the focus group this week, and with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Thanks for joining us, particularly those of you who stick through us here live on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. And then, as John mentions, we do the audio feed that pops in and populates on Saturday mornings, which, if you're listening, be sure to go over to text the letters FG
to the number 25827
and take our listener survey.
Or just go to Focus Group Radio on Facebook and Twitter.
Yes,
Tim is posting the link, and we'll make sure you know how to get it.
Thanks to our friends at Deep Discount. Be sure to go, while you're also at Focus Group Radio, click on the Deep Discount logo and start shopping away, because we get recognition for that and we appreciate it. And also a big thank you to our partner here, Volkswagen of America. We'll be going into our 8th year with Volkswagen. As John mentioned, we were just with them at the Out and Equal conference. They've been a great partner to us and a great supporter of LGBT media. They've got two great cars going on with some great deals, the new Atlas and the new Tiguan.
Smiling because I know you want.
I want a Tiguan. Like you want a new Apple product. I want the new VW product.
Yeah, there you go.
Be sure to don't text and drive, arrive alive.
Thumbs up from Garrett.
I saw an idiot doing that today, by the way. Have a good week.
What, me not saying it right or texting?
No, texting.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on Sirius XM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.